Welcome to the deep dive. So, today we're tackling self-care, but maybe not how you usually think about it. Forget just bubble baths.
Yeah, we're looking at it as, well, a real set of skills you need for thriving. It's based on some solid research, actually.
Exactly. We got material here from Professor Russ Curtis. He's a Ph.D. and a licensed clinical mental health counselor over at Western Carolina University. So, proper credentials.
Right, and the idea is to really unpack his work, specifically something called self-care-counseling.pdf for you, the
Mm.
listener. We want to pull out the key stuff, the actionable bits you can use without it feeling like, homework.
Okay, let's get into it then. Professor Curtis kicks things off with self-awareness. He calls it the first step in his model, the counselor self-care model.
And it sounds simple, maybe, but it's pretty fundamental. It's not just, oh, I feel tired. It's a deeper dive.
So how does he suggest we build it?
Well, he mentions things like self-reflection, mindfulness is a big one there, but also ongoing education, training, ways to actively learn about yourself.
What I found interesting was how broad his examples were for when you can practice this. It wasn't just meditating on a cushion.
Totally. He listening to a lecture, working on a project, even just chatting with friends.
Yeah, eating, walking, folding clothes, driving, like everyday stuff.
Exactly. It's about bringing a certain quality of attention, a mindful presence to whatever you're doing.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
He also brings up having a personal mantra. The example given is, I am who I am, and that is enough.
Yeah, that can be a really grounding thing to come back to. And then there's this zoom out idea.
Right, tell us about that.
It's basically like scheduling regular check-ins with yourself, taking a mental step back, to actually assess how you're doing instead of just running on autopilot all the time.
And this ties into something else he discusses, fixed versus growth mindset.
Oh, yeah, this is crucial. Because how you think about your own abilities, whether you think they're fixed or changeable, that massively impacts how you approach, well, everything, including self-care.
So a fixed mindset is like, I'm either good at this or I'm not. Intelligence is static. You avoid challenges maybe.
Pretty much. You want to look smart. You might give up easily if things get tough, maybe take feedback personally.
Whereas growth mindset,
Is the belief that you can develop your abilities through effort, good strategies, asking for help. Challenges become opportunities to learn, not threats.
so if you try a new self-care thing and it doesn't work perfectly first time,
With a growth mindset, you think, okay, what did I learn? What can I try differently? Instead of, see, I'm no good at this, it's a much more resilient way to approach self-care.
he even includes a quote from Panesco and others saying, scientists found the brain grows more when you learn something new, less when you just practice what you already know.
Yeah, it's a great motivator. And he gives that formula, growing your brain. Effort plus good strategies plus help from others. It's not just about trying harder, it's about trying smarter and connecting.
Love that. And the Kabat-Zinn analogy he uses, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf.
Perfect summary, isn't it? Navigating life's inevitable stuff with skill and awareness.
Okay, so after awareness comes self-assessment.
Exactly. This is about more formal, objective check-ins.
Yeah.
Not just the quick daily, how am I doing, but using actual tools sometimes.
Like what kind of tools?
He mentions things like standard questionnaires for depression or anxiety, like the PHQ-9 or GAD-7. Also, the ACE test for childhood experiences, even personality assessments.
So getting a clearer, maybe more structured picture of your well-being.
Precisely, because we might miss patterns otherwise. And this leads into discussing burnout.
Yes, burnout. He breaks it down.
Yeah, into three main components. Emotional exhaustion, just feeling drained. Depersonalization, like feeling detached, cynical maybe. And a reduced sense of personal accomplishment, feeling ineffective.
I think most people can relate to at least one of those at some point.
For sure. And it's vital to know it's not just in your head. Burnout has real physical consequences. Headaches, stomach problems, sleep issues, lowered immunity.
Wow, okay, so that mind-body connection is clear.
Definitely. Then he moves into countertransference, specifically mentioning compassion fatigue and vicarious traumatization.
Terms you often hear in therapy contexts, right? But maybe relevant more broadly.
Absolutely. Compassion fatigue is that sort of erosion of empathy. You might feel numb, depleted, maybe even resentful.
And vicarious traumatization.
That's the trauma you can experience just from hearing about someone else's trauma. Especially if you have your own trauma history, the risk can be higher. Even if you're not a therapist, think about caregivers, friends, supporting friends through tough times. The dynamic can apply.
It's a heavy thought, the toll that listening and caring can take.
It is. But Importantly, he balances this by introducing vicarious resilience.
Okay, resilience. How does that work?
It's the idea from researchers like Edelcott that engaging with others' difficult stories can also, paradoxically, lead to positive growth for us, like gaining perspective, feeling more grateful for what we have.
So it's not all negative impact. There's potential for growth, too.
Exactly. But it's still important to recognize when stress crosses a line into actual impairment, where your ability to function day to day is genuinely affected.
Right. Which brings us neatly to practical strategies. What can we actually do?
Okay, yeah, lots of good stuff here. He starts with a really simple one, the Estaffa P technique.
SOP. What's that stand for?
S is stop whatever you're doing. T is take a breath, a conscious one. O is observe what's going on in your mind, your body, your emotions. And P is proceed, but mindfully with that awareness.
Simple. I like it. A quick reset button.
Totally. And then he lists other key skills. Knowing your values, learning to adapt, being assertive, cultivating happiness, mindfulness, forgiveness, and gratitude. Quite a list.
The values one, he uses a prompt. Values,
Mm-hmm.
80th B-Day party. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What do you want people to remember?
It cuts right to the core. And that quote he includes, make your visions clear so your fears become irrelevant. Powerful stuff. Focus on what matters.
He also talks about embracing failure, quoting someone about being willing to suck at it at first.
Yeah. Yes, so important for growth. If you're scared of not being perfect immediately, you'll never try anything new, including new self-care habits.
Makes sense. What about this easy, hard, easy idea? The source wasn't super detailed.
Yeah, it's brief. My take is it's probably about balancing your workload or your day. Don't just do all the draining stuff, mix in things that feel easier or more energizing, and vice versa. Find a sustainable rhythm.
Okay, that seems logical.
Mm.
And assertiveness, how does that fit into self-care?
Hugely important. Being able to say no, set boundaries, communicate your needs clearly. That protects your energy and time, which is fundamental self-care.
Got it. I also like those 2 daily reflection questions he suggested.
Which ones?
What mistake did I make today that taught me something? And what did I try hard at today?
Yeah. They really frame things around learning and effort, not just outcomes. It's that growth mindset, again, baked into daily reflection.
Exactly. He mentions the YouTube link too, which we won't play, obviously.
Yeah.
Then he gets into lasting happiness. What are the ingredients there?
According to this material, it involves a few things. Learning a new skill just for fun. Learning something that boosts your sense of control over your life, your internal locus of control. And interestingly, increasing social connections by giving to others.
So it's very active, not just consuming things that make you feel good temporarily.
Right. It's about engagement, growth, connection. He also mentions FLODU, that state of being completely absorbed in something.
And then a deeper dive into mindfulness itself. He uses the Kabat-Zinn definition.
Yeah, the classic one. The awareness that emerges through paying attention on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally to the unfolding of experience moment to moment.
Such a clear definition. Paying attention on purpose now without judging.
And then he brings in the neuroscience. Research showing mindfulness-based stress reduction, MBSR, can actually increase gray matter in brain areas linked to memory, learning, emotional regulation.
Wow, okay, so it's not just a nice idea. It physically changes your brain.
That's what the research suggests. Pretty compelling. And he brings back the SOP technique here as a way to practice mindfulness in the moment.
And a breathing exercise, too.
Yes, from something called the Warrior Mind Training Program. It's an inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. That specific rhythm is known to be very calming for the nervous system.
4, 7, 8. Got it. Then he talks about forgiveness. How does that link to health?
Well, the research he cites is fascinating. Things like improved physical performance, like jumping higher, also perceiving hills as less steep, better cardiovascular health, lower heart rate, even less hostility.
So holding on to grudges literally weighs you down.
Seems like it might, physically and mentally, and related to that is gratitude.
The power of gratitude. What's the science bit there?
Increased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex. That's an area involved in stress reduction, moral thinking, value judgments, and activating the rest and digest part of our nervous system.
And that quote, simply, gratitude is an empathy amplification.
Beautiful, isn't it? It connects us more deeply to others.
He also touches on acts of kindness.
Yeah, briefly mentioning a study where kids doing kind acts at home got better peer ratings at school. Kindness creates ripples.
Then he shares insights from actual master counselors on their own self-care. What do they say?
Things like staying connected with colleagues, always learning, practicing gratitude regularly, eating well, balancing easy and hard tasks, definitely not working after hours, honoring boundaries, and knowing when to refer clients elsewhere. Real world wisdom.
Very practical. And one more technique, the push-button technique from Adlerian therapy.
Right. It involves bringing up a calming mental image, really noticing the good physical feeling that comes with it, maybe using a daily reminder to access that feeling, and having a little routine at the start or end of your day, or maybe before a stressful meeting.
Like consciously installing a calm button you can press mentally.
Exactly. So pulling this together, he suggests creating a self-care action plan using specific
What are
categories.
the categories?
Physical, recreational, fun, social support, spiritual, and mindset, where he mentions mindfulness and something called NATO. The source doesn't actually define NATO, unfortunately.
Okay, but the categories give a good framework. Body, fun, people, spirit, mind. Covers a lot of ground.
Definitely helps you think about self-care more holistically. And finally, he suggests creating micro self-care tools.
Micro tools, like what?
Little, easily accessible things like having 2 specific songs ready that always lift you up, 2 funny videos or memes saved, 2 photos that make you feel good, 2 inspiring quotes.
Ah, like a personal first aid kit for your mood.
Exactly. Quick, personalized resources you can grab when you need a boost.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway for you?
For me, it's really hammering home that self-care isn't fluff. It's a crucial research-backed skill set. It's active, it takes awareness, assessment, practice, but it's fundamental to actually thriving.
Yeah, I agree. It's about intentionally building resilience and balance through conscious effort across different parts of your life,
Mhm.
not just hoping you'll feel okay.
Exactly. You work on self-awareness, you check in with yourself honestly, you use these practical strategies. That's the path towards a more balanced and hopefully fulfilling life.
So a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Thinking about everything we just unpacked, which one piece of this self-care puzzle, maybe it's mindfulness, maybe gratitude, maybe assertiveness, maybe just that 4-7-8 breath, which one feels most relevant or maybe most needed for you right now?
Yeah, just pick one small thing. What's one tiny intentional step you could take, maybe even today, to bring a little more of that into your routine? See where it leads.